What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a new type of video that I'm doing. Today we're on NHL 22, and we're going to be doing the Playoff Bracket Challenge. So, NHL 22 did their own on who was going to win the Stanley Cup this year. You can clearly see I have no face in this video. But NHL 22 did their own, and Florida ended up being the winner of their Cup final. So we'll see if we get the same result here. I'm going to keep the same bracket that I made for the bracket challenge because I want to see if every bracket's different. Knowing the way NHL plays, where for some reason Chicago is the best team for whatever reason every single time, but Chicago's not in the playoffs, so we don't have to worry about it. I will be doing a loser's bracket version of this, which will make the loser's bracket based off the standing of the losing teams, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So yeah, here we are with the current playoff standing: Colorado versus Nashville, which is currently all these rounds are currently going on. We have Minnesota and St. Louis. We have Calgary and Dallas. We have Edmonton and LA. And over here we have Florida and Washington, Toronto and Tampa, Carolina and Boston, and the Rangers and Pittsburgh all in their respective seeds. So we're going to hit start playoff. We're going to let it generate, and we're going to simulate all this stuff and see what happens. Alright, here we are in the playoff mode. You can see everything down here is just as it's supposed to be. We're going to simulate through every game, and we'll see what happens. So, first period, we have a 2-2 tie with McKinnon and Rantanen getting the goals for Colorado and Benning and Cunnin for Nashville. Next period, we have Cogliano scoring on Saros to make it 3-2. And 5-2 for Calgary as Kadri and McKinnon make it 5-2. Moving on, we have Calgary and Dallas Game 1. Simulate. Calgary with the 2-0 lead. We have Toffoli and Gaudreau. And Backlund and Gaudreau score in the third period as no goals are scored in the second. So we have a 1-0 lead to Calgary. We'll probably simulate game 1 of each series, and then we'll simulate the games just overall to save time. Florida, we have Giroux and Jensen going 1-1, and then Florida with Sam Bennett gets on the board, and then that's the final score. Florida wins 2-1 in Game 1. Boston and Carolina, here we go. We have 2-0 Carolina, 3-0 Carolina, 5-1 Carolina. Pretty similar to the real event. Kind of skipped the goals there, but we'll go to all periods. We have Lorentz, Foss, Teravainen, D'Angelo, and Jarvis, and Taylor Hall getting on the board for the Bruins. There's also Frederick Anderson in this. I don't really want to use the effort to take him out, but we're going with fully healthy rosters for this, and we'll see how we're going to see how this turns out. Here we go, St. Louis and Minnesota. Minnesota leads after Spurgeon scores on Billy Husso. Spurgeon scores again, and Fiala and Zuccarello give it a 4-0 win for Minnesota. It's very interesting, quite different from the real-life Game 1. And last game of the West of this, and we'll move on. Nothing in the first. 2-2 with Iafallo and Lizotte giving LA a 2-0 lead before Duncan Keith and Zach Hyman both score on the power play to make it 2-2. And Edmonton takes Game 1 with a shorthanded goal from Ryan McLeod with Iafallo too. So each team got a shorthanded goal, and then Puljujärvi makes it 4-2 as Edmonton takes Game 1. And then we have two more series to do in the East. We have Tampa and Toronto. Toronto takes a 2-0 lead from Nick Robertson. That's how you know this ain't right. Nick Robertson gets on the board twice for Toronto. And 3-3, Matthews, Cernak, and Palat. Oh, no, McDonough, Cernak, and Palat give Tampa the lead. With 1 minute and 4 seconds to go, Matthews. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure this is backwards. I don't know. But anyway, we're not going to go into overtime here as I'm on a time crunch. But let's see what happens. Tampa wins Game 1 with a power play goal. It's Steven Stamkos on Eric Kallgren, so Campbell's not fully healthy yet. They haven't updated the rosters yet. These are the latest rosters, by the way. So I'm doing the best I can with what I have. Moving on, we have Pittsburgh and the Rangers. Rangers take a 1-0 lead from Capo Caco. And then Pittsburgh wins 3-1 after no goals are scored. Shesterkin lets goals in off Getzel, Malkin, and Pettersson to make it 3-1. no triple overtime heroics for this one for Louis Domingue. And here we are. So we're going to start simming games. We're just going to do that to make it faster. Nashville ties up the series. Calgary takes a 2-0 series lead. Florida takes a 2-0 series lead. I didn't really see what happened there. Boston ties the series. Minnesota 2-0 series lead. Edmonton 2-0 series lead. Toronto ties the series. And the Rangers tie the series. Game 3 for each team. Nashville takes a 2-1 series lead. Wow. Dallas makes it 2-1. Capitals make it 2-1. Bruins make it 2-1. Might be getting some upsets here in the first round the way this is going. St. Louis makes it 2-1. LA makes it 2-1, so every series is going to go at least 5 games now. Tampa makes it 2-1. Rangers make it 2-1. Go into game 4 for each one. Colorado makes it 2-2. Dallas makes it 2-2. This is getting very interesting. Florida takes a 3-1 series lead. Boston takes a 3-1 series lead. Minnesota takes a 3-1 series lead. LA ties the series. Tampa takes a 3-1 series lead. The Rangers take a 3-1 series lead. So far, I've got one prediction looking like it's about to come out right, and that's the Florida Capitals if Florida wins this next game at home. Tampa leads Toronto 3-1. That's very interesting. Robert Thomas leading all the playoffs in scoring. Very interesting how Boston's up 3-1. Carolina is a team that doesn't usually sim well as well, so we're seeing exactly how that goes. If you want to know the teams that sim the worst in NHL 22, it's the Islanders and it's the Hurricanes. Those two teams EA just hates. And those who sim the best are Chicago. And, yeah, about Chicago, that's about it. And as a Chicago fan, I'm willing to admit that bias. Simming next, now we're going to Game 5, where Nashville, 3-2 series lead. Dallas, 3-2 series lead. Capitals make it 3-2, so there goes my prediction there. Bruins win the series in 5. That's an upset right there. Blues make it 3-2. Oilers make it 3-2. Lightning win against the Maple Leafs in 5, as the Maple Leafs' successes do not exist. That's already not going to happen because Toronto's already up 2-1. Pittsburgh makes it 3-2 as they keep their series alive. And we move to Game 6. Colorado forces a Game 7. Calgary forces a Game 7. Ooh, here we go. Now Florida has a chance to take the series. Capitals tie it up in 7. Are we going to see all the number 1 seeds go out like we did in 2019? Minnesota takes the series in 6 over St. Louis. Edmonton takes the series in 6 over LA. And the Rangers take the series in 6 over Pittsburgh. In Game 7, Colorado beats Nashville in 7 games. Calgary beats Dallas in 7 games. Capitals come all the way back from 3-1 down and take the series in 7. We have some huge upsets in the Eastern Conference. 3 of the 4 home advantage teams are down. In the West, all the lower seeds have lost. So this is going exactly how as I predicted in the West. In the East, I have 2 of the teams that would advance. Moving on. Now going on to the second round. I think we'll simulate Game 1 again as we did in the previous. We have Burakovsky and Hartman tying the game. Nichushkin scores to make it 2-1 Colorado. And we have overtime after Tyson Jost, the former Avalanche, gets on the board to make it 2-2. Minnesota takes Game 1 in overtime with a Kirill Kaprizov, a power play goal. Very, very interesting as Minnesota takes Game 1. Calgary, we have the Battle of Alberta right here. I haven't had it since, I think, 1991, but we shall see how this turns out. McLeod scores on Markstrom. Tkachuk and Mangiapane respond to make it 2-1 for Calgary. And Oilers respond with Tyson Barrie and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to make it 3-2. So both the higher seeds lose Game 1. Now, we go over to the East, where Washington and Tampa. Tampa with a 4-goal period. Kucherov on the power play. Killorn, Point on the power play. They already switched goalies right here from Vanacek to Samsonov, and then Evgeny Kuznetsov on the power play. 4 power play goals in a period. Wow. Tampa makes it 5-1 with Cal Foote getting on the board, and it's 6-1 with Braden Point getting his second of the game, as Tampa demolishes Washington in Game 1. We have one more Game 1, and then we'll start doing what we did prior. 0-0 after the first between Rangers and Boston. 1-1 with Andrew Kopp and Charlie Coyle making it 1-1. And Rangers went 4-2 with Cheadle, Zibanejad making it 3-1 before Pastrnak scores on the power play to give the Bruins some life. But Zibanejad hits the empty netter, makes it 4-2 as the Rangers take Game 1. It's funny that EA's playthrough predicted Florida to win the Cup, yet they were out in 7 in the first round. That's very contradictory of what the EA one says. Now we shall simulate these games. Minnesota takes Game 2. Calgary takes Game 2 to tie the series. Capitals take Game 2 to tie the series. And the Rangers take a 2-0 series lead. Go to Game 3. Colorado wins Game 3 in Minnesota. Edmonton wins Game 3. Capitals win Game 3. And the Rangers have a 3-0 series lead on the Boston Bruins. Minnesota takes Game 4. Have a series. Minnesota beating Avalanche. In my bracket, I have Minnesota taking them to 7. I didn't think it was going to be this easy. Flames tie the series. Capitals have a 3-1 series lead on Tampa. They're going to knock out both Florida teams. Boston survives the sweep by winning Game 4. Game 5. Avalanche survive and force a Game 6. Oilers take the lead to make it 3-2. The Capitals have eliminated the Tampa Bay Lightning in 5 games. And Bruins stay alive to make it games 3-2 in favor of the Rangers. Game 6. Avalanche survive once again to make and force a Game 7. Can the Flames do the same? Yes, they can, and we have Game 7s from both the Avalanche and the Flames. And the Rangers finally finish the Bruins off and avoid the possible reverse sweep. Ovechkin having a playoff, 8 goals and 6 assists in 12 games, 14 points, not too bad. Now we have a Game 7 between both Western Series. This is exactly how I had this series going. I'm pretty sure I had Flames in 6 over the Oilers. So we'll see if this goes exactly as I predicted. It does, as the Avalanche come all the way back from 3-1 down to take the series. But the Oilers, there goes my Stanley Cup champion, as my finalists are both gone now. Oilers and Avalanche, McKinnon and McDavid in the West. And then we have a pretty old rematch of the Rangers and Capitals with them. I'm pretty sure the Rangers eliminated them in 2015 for sure. I want to say 2014, maybe 2013, I want to say. Wait, no, because the Capitals didn't make the playoffs in 21 of those years, so I don't remember. But anyway, we have the Western Conference Final. We'll simulate Game 1, and then we'll see how this goes. 0-0 after 1. Mikko Rantanen getting on the board to make it 1-0. But the Oilers tie it. It's Leon Draisaitl on the power play, so Game 1 is going to overtime, and we have Aube-Kubel scoring the game winner on Mike Smith to give the Avalanche a 1-0 series lead. Of all the people, Aube-Kubel, who they picked up on waivers from the Philadelphia Flyers. Very, very interesting. Rangers and Capitals, here we go. Capitals 2-0, Ovechkin and Wilson scoring Shesterkin. 3-0 with Ferry-Arvey scoring to make it 3-0. And the Rangers try to come back with Zibanejad and Goudreau, but they fall short as they fall to the Caps 3-2 in Game 1. The finals will simulate every single game, and we'll see exactly how that happens, but let's continue this. Simulate game. Avalanche take Game 2 to take a 2-0 series lead, as do the Caps. Avalanche 3-0 series lead on the Oilers. Rangers make it Game 3 to a 2-1 series lead for the Capitals. Oilers survive the sweep as they force a Game 4. Capitals win Game 4 and have a 3-1 series lead. Oilers force a Game 6. Capitals are going to the final as they beat the Rangers in 5. Ovechkin having a pretty good playoff and probably a favorite for the Conn Smythe at this point. And we have Oilers force a Game 7 after being down 2 games to 1 and then 3 games to 1. Avalanche in their third Game 7. Who is going to be the winner here? Should we simulate it? I think we should simulate it. Let's look at this. 2-0 from Colorado from Rantanen and Makar. Leon Draisaitl gets on the board to make it 2-1. And Colorado avoids the possible humiliating loss as McKinnon and Compher both score. Compher gets the empty netter, local boy from Chicago. And Brett Kulak attempts to stage a comeback, but falls short. McDavid did not score in any of the games we simulated. That's very, very interesting. I know I've used that word a lot. But here we are in the final. Avalanche and the Capitals. Neither of these teams I had going to the final. Caps I had out in the first round in 5, and the Avalanche I believe I had losing in the conference final in 6 to Calgary. But let's see how this goes. Simulate Game 1. We're going to simulate the entire series. Caps coming out strong with Johansson, Oshie, and Ferry-Arvey scoring to make it 3-1. It's Marcus Johansson, actually. My bad for mispronunciation. And then Arturi Lehkonen scoring to make it 3-1 as they get out, luckily. Darren Hellman Nichushkin helped tie the game with but then TJ Oshie responds to make it 4-3 in favor of the Caps. Avalanche come all the way back and win 6-5 with Nichushkin tying the game, but before Ovechkin gives the Caps the lead on the power play. Devon Toews then scores to tie the game, and Cale Makar on the power play gives the Avalanche the win to take Game 1. As I said before, we will be doing this with the losing teams, and that should be interesting enough to see who's the best of the losers. I want to say Vegas, but Vegas doesn't simulate great really. I don't know why I said well. Arizona, for some reason, simulates pretty good. I'm not sure why that is, but that should be interesting. Vancouver is another team that simulates well, so I'm assuming that's going to be the conference final between Chicago and Vancouver. Colorado takes a 2-0 series lead with Devon Toews and Andrew Cogliano scoring. 4-1 as Mantha gives the Washington 1 point, but Rantanen and Lehkonen make it 4-1. In 5-2, the final scores. Josh Manson scores, but Anthony Mantha getting his second of the game makes it 5-2, as the Avalanche have a 2-0 series lead headed to Washington. McKinnon having an over the point a game per playoff, so that's pretty good. 1-1 after the first. Nichushkin on the power play, and then Ovechkin scores to make it 1-1. No goals in the second period. 4-4 coming out of the third. Well, you got a lot here. Rantanen scores, and McKinnon scores to make it 3-1 for Colorado. Orlov scores on the power play to make it 3-2, but Nichushkin restores the 2-goal lead to make it 4-2. Then late in the third, Connor Sherry, 41 seconds after Nichushkin scores, makes it 4-3, and then Connor McMichael, the youngin, makes it 4-4. And in overtime, Washington, Tom Wilson on the power play makes it a 5-4 win for Washington and allows them to stay alive in the series. Game 4 in Washington. 2-1 to Washington with TJ Oshie and Tom Wilson scoring, but Bowen Byram making it 2-1. Colorado ties it with Mikko Rantanen going into the third. 5-2 for Colorado. Nazem Kadri, Alex Newhook, who doesn't even have a face yet, and Mikko Rantanen giving the Avalanche a 3-1 series lead with the Cup in-house in Colorado. They have not won it in 21 years, and is probably the heavy favorite for the Cup this year, so I wouldn't be necessarily surprised. But let's see how this simulates. Washington makes it 2-0. Marcus Johansson, and don't look at that. I'm just going to block that out. Nicholas Backstrom scores on Darcy Kemper to make it 2-0. And then Nicholas Blackstrom makes it a 3-0 lead, but McKinnon and Sturm both make it 3-2. With the cup in the building, can Colorado come back? They do, as Colorado takes the Stanley Cup with Kadri, Newhook, and Nichushkin scoring. Evgeny Kuznetsov ties it, but Nichushkin scores, but I believe that's 31 seconds to go to give the Avs the win. Is that right? 31 seconds to go? Wow, that is absolutely incredible. Here we are, your Stanley Cup final champions, according to EA, my version of EA, the Colorado Avalanche. The playoff mode is now complete. But thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it was enjoyable for you as much as it was for me. McKinnon, most likely your Conn Smythe winner. Thank you guys for watching, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.